there were all these words on a table, right? And it was like, pick the top 20, then 10, and then editing down to the 3 most important things that I value. So I was looking at, for example, intelligence, wisdom, intellect, and I thought, if I don't have a hunger to be wise, then I have nothing. And then I looked at compassion and all these beautiful, fluffy, warm words, and I thought, well, a life without love is nothing. And then it was talking about all other aspects of the creative process, but I thought the word creativity is everything. So when I cut it all down, what are the 3 things in my life that make me who I am since I've been born? It is a yearning to learn, which is the wisdom. I love to be creative, and anything without love is empty. So that's what really drives me. I think when you love what you do, it's easier to get up. I think when you work from your natural strengths, it's easier. I think that when you're given gifts in life, it's your responsibility to make them better. To be better every day is a huge drive because I'm not that easily satisfied. So I love to create beauty. I love being around creative people. And as I said in the beginning of this interview, the 3 things that drive me are wisdom, creativity, and love. So when I have a day that has that, then it's a great reason to get up. Sometimes with ambition, there isn't very much contentment because you're driving for the next thing. And so what happens is that your drive often means that you're a little bit hollow. You have a victory, but you don't enjoy it because you're on to the next ambition. What I realized is that there's a fine line between ambition and contentment. Now, if you can be content and still have ambition, that means the contentment is a grace to enjoy today and celebrate today and enjoy all the fruits of your labor. But the ambition is the drive for tomorrow. So now my new quest, Vivienne's new thing, is to find contentment in what I do, which is grace and enjoyment, and then still keep that drive. Which means when you climb the ladder, it's a wonderful journey. It's not when you look over your shoulder, you go, oh, what just happened? I lost everything. I think mentorship's everything, because to me a mentor is someone who's been there. They've climbed the road, they've gone up the mountain, they had roadblocks, they had detours, they had the courage to keep climbing. You can learn from everything that they have done. And you learn sometimes more from failures than you learn from success. And I think sometimes the misconception of life is that you see someone super successful, but you don't know the backstory. You can be envious or jealous of their victories, but you don't realize how hard they work to get to where they are. I think with success comes the sacrifice. And with success, you've really got to say to yourself, how much do I really, really want it? And therefore, when you go and seek a mentor, there's one thing to have a mentor, but will you listen? Because if you don't have a teachable spirit, you can have the most amazing mentors around you. And if you don't hear and listen and follow their advice, what's the point? Sometimes I've worked with people where they said, Viv, you should do this. And it's like, oh, that's a hard one to swallow. That really is a hard one. And sometimes our greatest learns come through the greatest challenges and difficulties. So yes, you've got to have mentors, and you don't have to have contact with them today. That's the brilliant thing, whether it be through audio, through online, whether it be through books. That inspiration is out there, and it's what you do with what they tell you that's the most important thing. It must have been about 15 years ago, I started to see a decline in our industry. For example, if I was on set doing a shoot, it was, who are you? And it would be like, I'm the makeup artist. And when it came to the hairdresser, one day I heard someone say, oh, I'm just a hairdresser. And I thought, well, you're not just a hairdresser, you're special. You're adding to the beauty of this photo shoot. Imagine red carpet without beautiful hair. Imagine movies without beautiful hair. Hair is so important. And so I started to think about how the consumer views us hairdressers, and I felt really undervalued. And I think part of it was that we undervalue ourselves. So I went on a quest, and I thought, right, I'm not just a hairdresser, and neither are you, and off I jolly well went. And so I thought, well, who do I need? Who would be the iconic people to start this series off? So probably the hardest phone call in my entire life was the phone call I made to Vidal Sassoon. It had been a long time since I'd worked for Vidal Sassoon. I called him and I said, would you be in this film series, I'm Not Just a Hairdresser? And he said, absolutely. So I knew once I had Vidal Sassoon, I could have anybody. So I went on a quest and I made a film series. I made 4 and it was called I'm Not Just a Hairdresser. So we screened it in different places and I've had salons that have actually taken the film, rented a cinema, invited their clients and done a movie night, and it's been so successful. So I just recently thought, you know what, it's time to redo that again. Our industry really needs to be elevated, the professionalism up another level, and it needs to start from the inside to go out. So we're on a planning process right now to relaunch and come up with some new ideas. And I've got a lot of film footage, for example, of Vidal that no one's ever seen. That was the idea, that's how it was born, and I think everybody would feel very proud when they watch the film because we're not just hairdressers, we do so much more.